Full War Prepper and Monday night government and civics class. What do you think? I'm about ready to shave off my beard. What do you think? I think it's getting to the point where I need to be able to get a good seal on my protective facial equipment that I got from Mira Safety. And, in the Army, that's one of the reasons why they won't let us have a beard. And we also had to keep our mustache trimmed so that it didn't go beyond the corners of the mouth or below the top lip, so you could get a good seal on your protective mask. So hello, Pat Butler. Hello. We had Stray Kitten and Diana too. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this may be the last time you see me in a beard. Get it shaved off so that I can wear my mask if necessary. I do need to get another mask for Helen. Right now she's on an N95, but I'm not so sure we're going to go chemical or biological. I think that if anything, we'll probably go airburst nuke. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow night as we talk about our nonfiction book club, where we're talking about nuclear war survival skills. Tomorrow night, we're doing chapters 2 and 3. Hi again. Welcome back, Stray Kitten. And and you only need a really, really good mask if you're looking at chemical and biological. So just to keep the molecules of dust, the radioactive fallout out of your nose, mouth, lungs, all you really need is N95 mask, and you're good to go. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome. Good to see you. So we'll just take a minute or two. Keep your head on a swivel. I was just watching. I haven't seen anything from him in quite a while. But I was just watching the Full Spectrum Survival, and I haven't seen him in quite a while. But he just came out with one. He says it's 36-hour warning to catastrophe. So we'll see what happens. I haven't had a chance to see the whole video yet. I know everybody's putting out all kinds of prophetic things that aren't looking good. Of course, I also heard that yesterday was going to be the day. So you're going to hear all kinds of stuff. All I can tell you is be prepared. Don't. As a matter of fact, that's going to be one of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow night in chapter 2. One of the things that they really talk about, and prepping with Sarge, and he has another channel. I forget the name of his other channel. He is a police department's counselor, and so he helps people with traumatic PTSD and stuff like that. And he and I have been talking an awful lot about psychological preparations, and that's what we're talking. That's paragraph 2 or chapter 2 tomorrow night. We're going to start off with psychological preparations about, don't let the stuff get you down. Hello, Stray Kitten. Oh, I already said hello to you several times, but anyhow, don't let this stuff get you down. Pursue with vigor. Continue on, just as if it's normal. You've got a plan. You've got this under control. You know what you need to do. You know how to do it. So what you need to do now is make sure that your body and your mind and your spirit are all in alignment, and that you are ready to take this on, that you know what needs to be done. You've got a plan. You know what skills you have. You know what skills you need, and you're going to take care of those. Hello, Sandy Aaron. And so if you can rest assured that you are far ahead of the majority of the population, then I think you can keep your head about you, because there are people who don't know as much as we do. I was talking, the ex-president of our HOA, he and I both teach RCIA together on Sundays, and he and I and this Navy SEAL, the three of us teach the RCIA, and the three of us were talking after class on Sunday. And then we had a Navy captain who was a submarine commander. And so the four of us were talking after RCIA on Sunday, and I showed him the letter that I sent out to our neighborhood, and he says, "Yeah, how many people responded?" I said, "1." I put it out twice, and one person's responded. So, out of 120, I think, homes here in this neighborhood, we've got 2 that are probably prepared. We've got one more. We've got 3 other families that say they're interested, but they haven't done anything yet. And then the people next doors, he and I were pretty good together. And then he passed away. And so his wife is kind of semi-quasi-pseudo, almost kind of sort of involved. But So it's Roman Catholic initiation for adults. So it's basically conversion classes. So most churches, you just say, "Hey, I want to be a member. I want to join. Baptize me and make me a member of your church." Whereas we go through about 26 weeks, about 52 hours of biblical teaching and understanding that there is an obligation. When you take on the name Christian, you have certain obligations that you have to meet. And so we explain all those obligations before we accept you formally into the church. And so, like this last weekend, we talked about a couple of things. We talked about the church calendar. Like right now, yes, this last Sunday was the 29th Sunday in ordinary time. And we talked about the church and the different objects inside the church. For example, our sacristy is the same thing as basically our vestibule is basically the same thing as the Ark of the Covenant. We have two cherubim that point towards the Ark of the Covenant. We have all these different things around the altar that are basically traditional Jewish. And the reason is because Jesus was a Jew. All 12 of the apostles were Jews. Paul was a Jew. So there's a lot of Jewish heritage in the Roman Catholic Church. And so, we try to keep those traditions. And then the last portion was talking about the vestments and the order of the Mass and things like that. So why do we do things the way that we do? And so that's kind of a formal class on what it takes to be a Roman Catholic. You and me both, Little Lone Prepper. By the way, welcome. Mama Four Boys, welcome. And so Mama Four Boys, I just saw her over on David Lynn Prepper's site. And let me get here. Can I get one of my moderators to put her link up so I can check it out and subscribe to it, and then ask you all to subscribe to it as well. As a matter of fact, if you want to just start putting up the links to all the people who are active so we can support each other, that would be phenomenal. I would really, really appreciate that. Josie Hickman, haven't seen you in a while. Good evening. Welcome. Sumi, fantastic. Are you back in Canada or still here in the States? And let me see. Okay, so back into the excitement. We've got how many people? We got 11 people here now. And so thank you for being here. I think we got enough to where we can go ahead and get started. So we're finishing up basically on the 100 questions for the citizenship test. And then starting next week, we're going to start with chapter 1 of the American government, this is the senior government book that's currently being used here in our school district. So, that's going to be kind of neat. We'll go through that step by step. Tonight, we're finishing up with the citizenship questions. And so these are relatively easy, in my opinion. So hopefully everybody here can pass this with ease. Mama Four Boys says, I cook. Oh, fantastic. So I put out a short almost every day. I didn't today on basically components and then a recipe. So maybe if I start watching your channel, I can, there we go. So if I start watching your channel, I can start learning some cooking from you, and I can post those videos and refer to it as in my shorts. So that would be phenomenal. Fantastic. Thank you. Oh, wow, that's great. So we'll have to probably have the two of you on live at some point in the future and talk about some of the things we can do in a post-apocalyptic world and how we can eat well while others are starving. But anyhow, let's get into the civics and government questions. And, it's funny, but we have Sumi, and she's from Canada, and she does extremely well on all these questions. So, we got to keep up with the Canadians as far as knowing U.S. history and U.S. stuff. Okay, question number 1. What major event happened on September 11th, 2001 in the U.S.? A switch. I'm not drinking black cherry tonight. I'm drinking white grape flavored water. What major event happened on September 11th, 2001 in the U.S.? I watched it live on television. I was watching a market report. The Twin Towers, absolutely. I was watching a market report and on CNBC, and his window faced towards the Twin Towers, and I actually saw both planes hit the Twin Towers while he was sitting there doing his talk. So, and it was not only the Twin Towers. We also had one that was headed towards, we believe, the White House that was taken down in Sharpsburg, Pennsylvania, and then the fourth one hit the Pentagon. So there were 4 planes that day. The Twin Towers, of course, were the most devastating. Yeah, gosh, isn't that something? 22 years ago. Can you believe that? Hello, Shireen Survival. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, Stray Kitten says, and the Pentagon. That's correct. Okay, name one American Indian tribe in the United States. And I prefer to refer to them as Native Americans. Oh, by the way, I did find an error in one of the questions, and I'll point that out to you when we get there. I had left. Who was I working for? Oh, the 4-letter computer company that rhymes with hell, because it is. And I had just left there, and so I was getting into doing an HR consulting business, and I started the mornings off taking a look at the stock market, and so and it just so happened that that's when that happened. Fantastic! The Blackfoot up in the Montana and Dakotas, Cherokee, Sioux, Apache, Lumbee. Haven't heard of them. I'm the descendant of a Cherokee woman and a Scottish man, and Mescalero Apache, the Navajo, the Arapaho, the Sequoia, there's so many. There's actually 120 some odd. Yeah, John says Navajo. You heard me. I said, so John and I think so much alike, it's pitiful. But yeah, the Navajo and that's the Four Corners area. And matter of fact, I'm going to do a video tomorrow. My video on my shorts on cooking on post-apocalyptic cooking. The short tomorrow is going to be on Navajo fried bread. So yeah, so pay attention to that one, because they do a pretty good job of. It's funny if you just put it in a pan and fry it without oil, we call it a tortilla. If you put it in a pan and fry it with oil, it's called Navajo fried bread. Same thing basically, but just the way you cook it. My uncle Bob married a 100% Choctaw. And so my cousin Bobby is 50% Choctaw, and so yeah, he's and he definitely looks it. He's 9 months older than I am. So my favorite cousin over on that side. Hello, Phioxerus, welcome. Okay, Izzy, you're going to have to wait, sweetheart. My smallest Chihuahua, she's 15, and so her back legs don't work, and so she's wanting off the couch. She gives me these little to let me know when she wants to do something. There she goes again. Okay, name one of the 2 longest rivers in the U.S., and they merged to form one of them. Chippewa, great answer. The Squamish. Just a minute, let me go get this little black thing. I'll show it to you. What do you want, Precious? Okay, so this is Isabella, and she's 15 years old. She's a full-blooded, long-hair Chihuahua, and she's a miniature. So, but she's a sweetheart. She used to belong to my daughter. My daughter got her when she was a sophomore in college, and then when she had her son was a little bit too rough with the puppy. So My daughter always said that I was her favorite human being on earth. So she said that was a natural place for her to come, was to stay with Grandpa. You went down? Okay. Got it? Get your balance? Okay. Now she's going to want me to do something for her here in the very near future. We'll have to wait and see what she wants. Not that I'm aware of, but I'll see if I can't put something together. Yes, Mississippi is the longest, and the second longest is feeds into it the Missouri. So the Missouri feeds into the Mississippi, and the two of them become the Mississippi. Hello, Butch Graves. Welcome, welcome. We used to wear those around our neck with our dog tags, but eventually, and we carried the P38, the smaller one, and but eventually that little tension that kept it closed would wear out, and it would open in between your dog tags. And if you turned wrong in your sleeping bag, you got a little bit of a nice puncture wound. So we moved it off of, at least I moved it off of my dog tags and put it elsewhere because I did not like having puncture wounds in my chest. Yeah, she wants out back. Just 1 second. Let me go let her out back. Phenomenal. Sue me, Little Lone Prepper. Got it right. Missouri River feeds into the Mississippi and then becomes the Mississippi. We also have two golden Chihuahuas that are siblings. We got them at the animal shelter. And so the older or the bigger of the two wanted to go out with the old lady, with Isabella. So I've got two out back right now. Okay, here's a tough one. What ocean is on the west coast of the U.S.? West Coast, California, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. Helen, I just let Izzy and Addie out back. Okay. Izzy wandered off the couch and out back. Fantastic. The Pacific. Oh, and Hawaii too. Fantastic. Great answers. Okay, then the next one, of course, you can kind of guess is what's the ocean on the east coast of the United States? I'm not going to name the states there. Let me see. Going north to south, Maine.
New York.
No, Maine, New Hampshire,
Connecticut,
Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. There we go. All right, Little Lone Prepper. Okay, name one U.S. territory. And I think there are 6. Yeah, there are 6.
Puerto Rico, Guam. Bikini Atoll.
Gosh. I just did another fingernail. Guam, Puerto Rico. Fantastic. How did we get Puerto Rico? Does anybody know? And what other areas did we get along with Puerto Rico as a result of that? Yes, Cuba, but it's no. Cuba was one of those other three that we got with U.S. Virgin Islands. Great answer. So we got the Philippines, Puerto Rico, and Cuba as a result of the Spanish-American War. Remember, that was Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders and everything else in the USS Maine. Recent evidence when they were down in Havana Harbor shows that it was actually an internal explosion on the Maine. It wasn't an external explosion. So probably what it was the coal bunker in the where they kept the coal for the steam-powered engine. Probably had an accumulation of coal dust, and it exploded and blew up on the inside and blew out. So we went to war with Spain probably over a faulty coal storage bunker on the USS Maine. But as a result of it, we got the Philippines, Cuba, and Puerto Rico. We gave the Philippines their own independence after World War II. We did the same thing to Cuba. And then, of course, we had the Communist Revolution in Cuba right after that. Panama actually is a very interesting one. It's not a U.S. protectorate. It was the zone was considered a protectorate up until the time that we had a 100-year lease on it, and we did not renew the lease, and so turned it back over to the state of Panama. And now it's being run by the Chinese. So Chinese have control over all east-west traffic, Pacific to Atlantic traffic, basically through the Panama Canal now. Samoa, good one. All right, so let's go through the answer here. Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, the Northern Mariana Islands, and Guam are the 6 territories. Name one state that borders Canada. Oh my gosh. Oh, you can't do that to me. Rebecca. Who was it? Where is it? A Little on Prepper. Golly. Oh, my eyes, they hurt. I'm tearing up. Oh, fantastic answer. Fantastic answer. Thank you. Yeah. Michigan, North Dakota. Yeah, I guess Illinois. Illinois is on Lake Michigan. Wisconsin, New York, Montana, Michigan, New York, North Dakota, Idaho, Washington. Look at this is where I found the mistake. Okay, so here's the answer that they give in the book. Tell me the state that's missing that borders with Canada. They left one out. Which state is left out of this list that borders with Canada? And it just so happens it has the longest border with Canada. Way to go, Rebecca. Absolutely. Okay. Let's get down here to the next question. That's not going to work. I need to get my mouse to work here. So name one state that borders Mexico. It's funny, in the answers, when I typed these up from the book, they gave when they listed the answers, they started off with Maine. So they went from east to west when they're dealing with Canada, and they went from west to east when they gave the South America, the southern area. Arizona, California, Texas, there's only one more to go, and we got it made. And these guys had problems getting, there you go, Rebecca. These guys had problems getting tickets to the Olympics in Atlanta because some of the people there did not know that New Mexico was a state. They thought it was a foreign country. Can you believe that? Hello, my prepper journey. Welcome. It's good to see you. Okay. Another tough one here. What is the capital of the United States? Hello, Holly. No, you're fine. Welcome. Capital of the U.S. There's some truth to that, Josie. Yep, Washington, District of Columbia. Good, most people got it. Okay, let's see here. Where is the Statue of Liberty? I bet you don't know this, but how many statues of liberty are there? And where are the other ones? Helen just stuck her fingers up. So where's the third one, Helen?
Isn't it New Mexico? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I knew there were three. One's in France, one is in New York, and where's the other one? You can't remember.
I can't remember that one either. I only remember two, but I've heard that there are three. So, of course, we have Ellis Island, close to Ellis Island, actually called Liberty Island. And then it's in New York Harbor, basically in between New York and New Jersey, right there where the Delaware comes down into, separates between New Jersey and New York. Second one is actually on the River Seine in Paris, and not far from Notre Dame, as a matter of fact. And that was the original one that they built, and then
there are only two genuine statues.
Okay, so Helen just looked it up. There's two genuine. The one on the Seine in Paris, the one in New York Harbor, and then
several lesser versions.
There are several
there are
left.
over 100 replicas.
Oh, over 100
More than 30 are in France.
Over 30 in France replicas. No, not no. I think that's INSANE. But if I get your pun there through me, let me see here. Why does the U.S. flag have 13 stripes? Yeah, the one in France is on the River Seine, not far from the island of Notre Dame, in downtown Paris, basically. So why does the U.S. flag have 13 stripes? 13 original copies. Way to go, Rebecca. 13 original colonies. I'm sorry. Way to go, Rebecca. Absolutely. And of course, you can kind of guess what the next question is if they're going to ask you about the number of stripes. Why does our flag have 50 stars? Why does it have 50 stars? Number of states. Welcome, big chap. Haven't seen you before either, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Do me a favor, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'd love to have you here regularly. Number of states, absolutely. Here's a tough one. Here's a tough trivia question for you. How are they arranged? How many rows of how many stars? See if anybody gets this little piece of trivia. Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Big Chop. Appreciate that. There are 4 rows of 5 stars and 5 rows of 6 stars, making a total 20 plus 30 equals 50. What is the name of the national anthem? And for bonus points, what war was it written during? What is the name of the national anthem? Shireen Survival, have a great one. Please be safe and keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention to the news. Watch around you. It's time for us to be fully aware of everything that's going on around us. I wish you safety. Star Spangled Banner, and not the Revolutionary War, not the War of Northern Aggression, in between those two. Francis Scott Key, and he was an attorney. And so Holly got it. Yay, Holly. So what had happened was the British had tried to take us over again, and we were fighting them because they were impressing, which means they were taking our sailors off of our ships and forcing them to be slave labor on British warships. And so during the Battle of 1812, they had prisoner of war ships in Baltimore Harbor, right by Fort McHenry. And so Francis Scott Key went out, and he was trying to arrange, he was an attorney, he was trying to arrange a prisoner swap between the British and the Americans, that we had a whole bunch of their soldiers that we had captured and officers we were going to try to work out a trade. And the admiral who was in charge of the prisoner ship said, no, he says, you don't understand. See those ships over there? That's the entire British fleet. And they're coming here, and they're going to take Fort McHenry off the face of the earth. And there's a really good video about this that was done by Paul Harvey. And so when we get done, look up the Star Spangled Banner by Paul Harvey on YouTube. Really, really great explanation of everything that happened and how many people fell holding the flag up, because the British said that when the flag fell, they would cease the bombardment. But yeah, very, very, very moving when you understand everything that goes behind it. So, yes, Francis Scott Key is the attorney's name. And yep. So, and there was just the number of patriots who wanted to keep the flag flying. It was very, very patriotic, very moving, very emotional. Okay, when do we celebrate Independence Day? When do we celebrate Independence Day? 4th of July, because on July 4th, 1776 is when the Declaration of Independence was actually signed. We'd actually been at war, a fighting war with Great Britain since about April of 1775. So it had been almost 17 months. How was that going back and forth, Sue Me? I'm assuming you got home safe, but I just heard somebody, one of the states was saying that they wanted it to basically get a tighter crossing on the northern border as well. That it's almost as fluid as the southern border. It's harder to get into Canada, from what I understand, than it is to get into the U.S. But I don't know. I have never been to Canada, other than we stopped for refueling at Goose Bay when we came back from Germany one time. That's about the only time I've ever been to Canada. Hello, Pete. Welcome. Always good to see you. Thanks for dropping by, buddy. And Pete does a live in the morning as he's driving to work. And that's normally, I'm going to say about 7:30-ish. So Sumi is still in the USA. She's going to be going home here shortly. Okay, name 2 national U.S. holidays. Name 2 U.S. national holidays. Now I'll tell you a pet peeve of mine about holidays. It looks like they're having a special classified briefing on Iran being delivered to Congress. Okay. Devil Dog Prepper, welcome. welcome. Good to see you. Labor Day and Memorial Day, fantastic. Independence Day, Veterans Day, great answers. Flag Day is not a holiday. It's not an official national holiday, let's put it that way. Memorial Day is, yes. Labor Day is. Christmas, Independence Day. God, we're getting almost all of them. We're doing a really good job here. We used to have two. We used to have Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday. They put those two together and created a new holiday called President's Day. But they did that so that they could then add another holiday, but not add another holiday. Keep the number the same, and that was MLK Day. So Martin Luther King Day is we basically gave up one of the two presidents' birthdays and merged it into President's Day, and then we had MLK Day separate. We've just had another one added under President Biden. Why it's a federal holiday, I have no idea. It's actually a Texas state holiday. It's called Juneteenth, and it's the day, June 19th was the day that word arrived in Texas that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed as an executive order by the president. And so that, I don't know why that's a national holiday, but it is. So, but anyhow. So in order throughout the year: New Year's, Martin Luther King, President's, Memorial, Juneteenth, Independence, Juneteenth, National Independence, Independence Day, Labor, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. Columbus Day has also just recently had its names changed, where now it is Columbus/Indigenous Peoples Day. So that's been a slight change to that one as well. So one of my pet peeves, and please indulge me with this, is Veterans Day and Memorial Day. So we actually have three holidays. One of them is not a national holiday, but it's also in June, and that's Armed Forces Day. Veterans Day is where we recognize people who have served in the military and are still here with us, or somebody who served and died in other than non-combat affiliated death. So, for example, my father had a total of 32 years service, with the military. He was a World War II vet, Korean War vet, Vietnam War vet, but when he passed away, it was as a result of a heart attack. So that was not a combat incurred death. So we celebrate him or remember him on Veterans Day. Memorial Day, we recognize those who gave their life in service of their country. So those who either were killed in combat or died as a result of wounds that they suffered while in combat. So we recognize veterans, those who did not die as a result of their wounds or in combat. Memorial Day, where we recognize those who died as a result of their wounds or as a result of combat. And then we have Armed Forces Day, where we thank those who are currently serving. So to me, Memorial Day is not a happy holiday. It's a solemn holiday. So I don't take it too well when people wish me a happy Memorial Day, because what we're doing is we're acknowledging the grave sacrifice of people who gave up their lives in service to the country. So it's a solemnity to me rather than a happy holiday. So thank you for giving me that opportunity and indulging me with my pet peeve. Okay. And that was the last one on now we have now completed the entire citizenship questions. So Mama of Four Boys, thank you. So that's it for the citizenship questions and everything. And we've got about 20 minutes left in case anybody has anything else that they would like to discuss. One of the things that I was watching Think Media podcast earlier today, and they're talking about how to get more viewers and everything else. And he said, really sit down and come up with, what is it you want to accomplish on your channel? What is your main purpose of being? So my main purpose of being is I want to do two things. Number one, I've been doing this since the Cold War, I've been prepping since the Cuban Missile Crisis. My next door neighbor was the block civil defense warden. He built a cinder block fallout shelter in his backyard. I was a young boy of like 12 at the time, just totally engrossed in fallout shelter and everything else. And so that's kind of how I got into it. And I've been into prepping ever since then. Difficult to prep while you're on active duty because you have limitations in weight, what you can ship from one station to another. And so I would get prepped up and then I'd have to give all that stuff away because I couldn't ship it. As a matter of fact, my wife knew I was a prepper when we got married in 1984. And I had to give away buckets and buckets of lentils and rice and beans and all kinds of stuff. And that was kind of disheartening for her. Of course, her introduction to it was we got married. And then the day after we got married, I left for Germany. And so I got her orders and she followed me to Germany. Well, because we were still the Cold War, all family members had to have what was called a NEO bag, a non-combatant evacuation orders, NEO. And so that was basically a bug out bag for non-combatants, for members of the family. And I was at a remote intercept site. We were listening to the East Germans and Russians, a little bitty place called Field Detachment Wobeck. I'll show you a picture of it. Let me see here. The Tory Tower and Detachment Wobeck. So this is where we were when we first got married. And images. It's a good picture. Trying to find one that shows from up above though, looking down on the elm forest. We were looking out of our kitchen window at a East German Soviet guard tower. So we were less than 50 feet away from an East German guard tower. And okay, there we go. So this is the intercept site where I worked at when we first got married. So we can present share screen. And so there we go. Here's Detachment Wobeck. So down at the bottom, down here, you're looking at it actually from the back. Down here we had 5 VHF directional antennas. And then of course up here we had some UHF. And so these were all VHF down here, UHF, SHF up here. And then we also had a HF system. So, but this is the old Tory Tower at a little place called Wobeck, right outside of Schöningen, West Germany, on the east-west German border. And so that was quite an experience. And So there are only 40 Americans there, and our closest place was actually Bremerhaven, Bremen and Bremerhaven. So she would have had a 2-hour bus ride to get out of the country by boat, and then probably about a 4-hour drive to get down to Rhine-Main to get out by aircraft. Oh, I don't know if I told you or not, Rebecca and John, but there is a fantastic book out. I think of it as being the 1984 of 2023, and it's called Blue Dawn. And I forgot. Blaine Pardoe is the author. But oh my gosh, he's got the SE, the social police, who are basically Antifa and BLM. And he's got the NSF, which is basically the old FBI, CIA, and everybody else conglomerated together, and they're fighting each other. And oh my gosh, when you read it, you recognize a whole bunch of the political figures that are emulated in the book, and you say, this is 1984, put in current names and current situations, and it's just a remake of 1984 with reality set in. Oh my gosh, what a book. Unbelievable. But anyhow, Blue Dawn. And Blue Dawn, and the author's name is Blaine, Blaine, Pardoe, and I think it's Bard. Oh gosh, Blaine. Let me see here. Amazon, Blue Dawn. Yeah, Pardoe, Pardoe, Blue Dawn. Just a great book. Oh man, is it phenomenal? So anyhow, so that was her first introduction to the military and to yes, Pardoe, Sumi. Thank you. And so she found out that there was a reason why I was pretty much a prepper and had a bug out bag and everything else when we first got married. So she's been exposed to that since 1984, and she's been tolerant of it. I would say that in the past 3 years, she's gotten a little bit more actively involved. And I mean, even to the point to where I've gotten her out to the firing range. So it's something. And so we'll see how things go. But we're in this together for sure now. So, but that's the way we go. Thank you, Sumi. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it. Let me know what you think of it, Rebecca, because it's a phenomenal book. I have not heard of that. I'll have to check that out. Let me write that down real quick. My little things to get. So, and things to check out list I keep in my wallet. Police State by Dinesh. But so anyhow, so back to the original reason we were talking about this was, the Think Media says, why does your channel exist? And so my channel, because of my infatuation, because of my love, because of my desire to survive what's coming, and we've seen it coming now for 60 years, is to share the knowledge that I have gleaned over the course of the last 60 years with people who want to survive what's going to be happening. However, there's a big however here. Even though I've been doing this for 60 years, people like you come in all the time with phenomenal suggestions, with outstanding advice, with a new perspective of looking at things from eyes that aren't jaundiced with this old man's cataracts, and help me to see things a lot differently than what I have in the past. And so not only am I here to help to instruct, but I'm also here to learn. Because so many of you have such great ideas and you're so willing to share them. And I think that's the whole reason is, how do we rebuild a community? So I would like to be a part of rebuilding a community, rebuilding a society where people really do care about each other. I've seen this transition over the course of my life. When I was younger, we used to play outside until the streetlights came on. And mom and dad would sit on the front porch in lawn chairs with iced tea, especially in the summer, and talk with the neighbors. And then we had this thing called TV. At that time, we only had one channel. And then we got 3 channels. And all of a sudden, you had things like Rowdy Yates, Clint Eastwood, and what was the name of that show? I forget the name of the show. But Clint Eastwood's first starring part was Rowdy Yates. And they came to our church festival, as a matter of fact. And I have an 8.5 by 11 glossy of Rowdy Yates autographed by Clint Eastwood from 1960. Gosh, I want to say it's about 1965, 64, somewhere around in there. But TV kind of destroyed the neighborhood because people went inside now to watch TV in the evening instead of being outside talking with each other. And then, of course, color TV, and it got even worse. And now we see people out dating and they're communicating with each other by texting instead of talking to each other. So I think that social media, television, the electronic era has really dilapidated our interpersonal skills, our ability. Rawhide, thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. How can I forget that? Rawhide. Anyhow, just how can we rebuild based back on, human interaction and people getting to know each other and people getting to understand each other and love each other and help each other. That's the kind of society I'd like to help rebuild. So that's the reason I have this channel. And within it, there are a couple areas where I think that I have a lot of experience. Number one is food storage and food and cooking. Number two is an area that most people don't want to talk about, and that's sanitation. I saw what the backed up toilets did, and the dysentery, cholera, tetanus, typhoid, all the other terrible diseases, diphtheria, that they come about as a result of terrible sewage and everything else, like we had in Katrina down in New Orleans, and even along the southern Gulf states to Mississippi and things like that. And so, how can we prevent having another infestation as a result of human waste? And so I've studied up an awful lot on human waste. As a matter of fact, I just got a new book, and I think I've already put it back in my library, in my to be read, and it's called Humanure, Humanure. So you got human and manure kind of combined. But basically, it's a book on how to compost human manure so that we aren't attracting insects and animals and things that are going to spread disease for us. Okay. Thank you, John. I missed something here that I need to go back and catch. Yeah. And very valuable. There are so few of those around, and I'm not one of them. I will tell you, I am. Boy Scouts. I had that kind of experience with Boy Scouts and stuff like that. But there are people who actually lived it, who are far, far better off than I am. Prepping with Sarge. I envy him. He is a great forager, and I'm terrible at foraging. I mean, when I was younger and living in El Paso, we went up to Dale Wrestler Boy Scout camp, which was up right outside of Cloudcroft, New Mexico, Lincoln National Forest. Big difference between living in the desert and learning how to forage and bushcraft in a national forest with pine trees and everything else. So you'd have to drive 100 miles for me to put my skills to use. So here, this is kind of a transition area where we are here. West of I-35 is basically desert. We're starting to get into the desert area. East of I-35, we're kind of in the transition area where it's pretty well forested and grassy lands and everything else. So, that's kind of where it is. Oh no. Well, we're doing chapters 2 and 3 tomorrow night. Rebecca, sleep well, and pass on my best to John and thank him for his participation and saving me with Rawhide. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I told you about, well, let me see if I can find this one for you. This is another one of my other favorite assignments in the Army. And this was U.S. Army Security Agency Fuel Station, Augsburg, Germany. And so this was my other favorite place where I served. And here we go. So we can see if we can share this screen. This is another intercept site. It was down in Augsburg. Share screen. There we go. So this is Augsburg, and this portion down here is all the intercept. We had about 800 intercept operators in here at any one time. This was the mess hall down here, and then this was the headquarters building where the general was. You can see the cars down here in the parking lot for relative size. And then this was the heating and cooling plant over here, more parking over here. And then this was the ANFLR 9 HFDF antenna array. So there were, I think, 7 of those around the world. And any, we could pretty much DF within, reasonable amount of accuracy, any HF signal from around the world. Because of this complex of ANFLR 9s that we had going on around the world. Okay, so that was Fuel Station Augsburg. That was my second favorite site. Pat, have a nice evening. Okay, so we're coming up on 55 minutes. We're losing people, so evidently I'm getting to be boring. So that tells me it's time to read the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we are doing nuclear war survival skills, chapters 2 and 3. Chapter 2 is psychology and how to get your mind straight, getting ready for a nuclear strike. Chapter 3 is warnings and communication. So how are you going to find out that something has happened? How are you going to know when it's safe to come out? So those kinds of things. So those are the 2 things we're going to be talking about tonight or tomorrow night. And in the meantime, Book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. So remember, please, I talked about it earlier when I said, why do I have this channel? The whole reason I have this channel is because we are in this together. So we can come out the other side together. And what we can do to help each other to survive better. So in the meantime, as we help each other to learn how we can survive this together, please be kind, polite, and respectful with each other. And one thing I love is your interaction with each other and your empathy and your understanding and your caring for each other in the chat as we go through this together. So thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And we'll continue on with nuclear war survival skills. Take care, everybody. Have a great evening.